Hello, welcome to Jeff Stamps. Thanks very much for joining us. I want to concentrate on these Antarctic stamps just quickly for this segment. I know I have shown you some of these stamps before, but I want to concentrate particularly on the 1911-1914 Australasian Antarctic expedition. But here are some of these Antarctic stamps. The Australian Antarctic Territory stamps there. Just a couple of variations. Pre-decimal. Another pre-decimal Antarctic Territory stamp. Few more there. I think they're well designed stamps, really lovely looking stamps. Those are mint unhinged, those ones there. (1908 to 1909), the first attainment of the magnetic pole. And this person here that I'd like to concentrate on, Mawson, who led the 1911 to 1914 Australasian Antarctic expedition. And I've actually got this first day cover, which I showed briefly the other day on my last segment. This beautiful first day cover commemorating the 50th anniversary of the 1911-1914 Australasian Antarctic expedition. And that was stamped the 18th of October 1961. At the GPO Adelaide, South Australia. And there's that stamp again. You see the clothing he's wearing? Made out of wool. Not a good idea to have wool and snow mixed together. Go out onto the snow fields or go skiing and wear woolen gloves and see what happens. So even today, I'm going to try and hold this as steady as I can because I don't have my gimbal here today, but because this was an impromptu video. But even today, with advanced foods and radio and insulated clothing, a journey on foot across Antarctica is probably one of the harshest tests a human being can be asked to endure. Now that's with today's advanced foods, radio, insulated clothing. It can still be one of the harshest tests that you can endure. But 100 years ago, it was worse. Then wool clothing absorbed snow and damp. High energy food came in an unappetizing mix of rendered fats called pemmican. And worst of all, extremes of cold pervaded everything. Aspley Cherry Garrard, who sailed with Captain Scott's doomed South Pole expedition in 1910 to 1913, recalled that his teeth, the nerves of which had been killed, split to pieces and fell victim to temperatures that plunged as low as 77 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, Cherry Garrard survived to write an account of his adventures, a book he titled The Worst Journey in the World. But even his Antarctic trek, made in total darkness in the depths of the southern winter, was not quite so appalling as the desperate march faced 1 year later by the Australian explorer Douglas Mawson, this fellow that we're featuring here today. Mawson's journey has gone down in the annals of polar exploration as probably the most terrible ever undertaken in Antarctica. This Australasian Antarctic expedition was a 1911-1914 expedition headed by Douglas Mawson. that explored the largely uncharted Antarctic coast due south of Australia. Mawson had been inspired to lead his own venture by his experiences on Ernest Shackleton's Nimrod expedition in 1907-1909. And during its time in Antarctica, the expedition's sledging parties covered around 4,180 kilometres, that's 2,600 miles roughly, of unexplored territory, while its ship, SY Aurora, navigated 2,900 kilometres or 1,800 miles of unmapped coastline. Scientific activities included meteorological measurements, magnetic observations, an expansive oceanographic program, and the collection of many biological and geological samples, including the discovery of the first meteorite found in Antarctica. Meteorological, that's better, measurements and oceanographic programs. Anyway, that first meteorite was found in Antarctica. The expedition was the first to establish and maintain wireless contact between Antarctica and Australia, and another planned innovation, the use of an aircraft, was thwarted by an accident before the expedition sailed. The plane's fuselage was adapted to form a motorised sledge or air tractor, but it proved to be quite useless or very limited at the most. The expedition was organised into 3 bases, one on the sub-Antarctic Macquarie Island and 2 on the Antarctic mainland. The main base under Mawson's command was set up at Cape Denison, about 500 kilometres, that's 300 miles, west of Cape Adare, and a western base under Frank Wild was established on the Shackleton ice shelf, more than 2,400 kilometres, 1,500 miles west of Cape Denison. And activities at both mainland bases were hampered by extreme winds, which often made outside work impossible. In finishing, the expedition was marred by the deaths of 2 members during an attempt to reach Oates Land. Belgrave Edward Ninnis, he fell into a crevice, and Xavier Mertz, who died in the harrowing return journey. So Mawson, their sledging partner, was forced to make this arduous solo trek back to base, torturous, arduous solo trek back to base. He missed the ship, and because he missed the ship, he had to spend a whole extra year at Cape Denison along with a relief party of 6. So this sojourn was made difficult by the mental breakdown of the wireless operator Sidney Jeffries. And when Mawson returned from Antarctica, he was given a hero's welcome and received many honours, including a knighthood. It's very fortunate he made it. But the scientific studies proved copious, detailed data which took 30 years to completely publish, and the expedition's broad exploration program laid the groundwork for Australia's later territorial claims in Antarctica. So I hope you found that interesting. And hence the first day cover here commemorating the 50th anniversary of a very important expedition, tragic but important, the 1911 to 1914 Australasian Antarctic expedition led by Mawson. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll be back again with another stamp video very soon. Bye for now.